Welcome to episode 187 for the second time. My name is Martin Larsen, and you're listening to the podcast about everything Blizzard. It's Sunday, April 29th, 2018, and with me today I have, as usual, Tom Knight.
How's it going, everyone? It's good to be here. Good to have the episode numbers sorted. We had an issue last week where we actually didn't know what episode number we were on, but hey, we've ironed out the kinks. We're back here to bring you a polished, highly quality show. One of those or two of those previous statements might be lies.
And with us today as well, we have Michael Skaczynski.
Yes, good evening, fellas. I am here. I'm ready to go. Let's do it. I have
You
nothing.
look like you're about to cast a spell there.
I know. Well,
Ooh.
I've been in the Witchwood too much. I'm ready to go.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
We've all been venturing into the Witchwood over the past couple of weeks, and yeah, I'm looking forward to talking about that. I know that's something we've all been playing quite a lot, so that'll be exciting to unravel the secrets and mysteries.
I have good things to say.
I have good news.
Well, let's not wait any longer then. Let's hit all the right buttons today and get the show started.
Here I come.
I sense elusive. Stay a while and listen. Well met. You are not prepared. This better be good. Existence is mysterious.
Loud and clear. Hello there.
Greetings, traveler, and welcome to the Bladed Cliff.
So let's jump straight into the Witchwood, see what's happening in there behind the trees, and how you guys faring? How far in are you?
Ooh,
Michael,
we're in deep.
Let's start.
Damn.
For
Totally derailed.
the first topic, we're deep. We're deep inside the
We're deep.
Witchwood.
Oh man, I mean, yeah. Go ahead, Michael. To get us back onto an even
Alright.
ground here.
So Monster Hunt was released this week, I believe, Thursday, if I'm correct. And I am 3 down. I have 3 of them down. I just got 1 left to go, which is the, the tracker. I've not been faring well with the tracker. But I one-shotted it with the Houndmaster, 1 shot with the, what's the other one? Not Toki.
Cannon Master?
Yeah, the cannon. Cannoneer.
Cannonballs.
I was just shooting balls all over.
Then it was done.
Yeah, those 2 classes I did it fairly quickly because they played to my style of board control with a mixture of aggressiveness, while Toki was not. I know Tom had a lot of fun with Toki, but I was just like, what is going on here?
Yeah, so I mean, if you haven't ventured into the Monster Hunt in Hearthstone, the PvE style mode for this expansion, the heroes that they've designed are pretty cool. Actually, the hero power is very unique, and there's actually a bit of flexibility behind that in how you build your deck and how you select your treasures to upgrade that as well. So for example, Toki, which I've had a lot of fun with, her hero power is actually to rewind the turn, and you get to play it out again. So she has a lot of RNG based cards, so if certain things didn't quite play out how you expected, or maybe you threw down that babbling book and you got a spell and you're like, wow, that spell's actually a bit useless in this situation, I need to wind it back. And I don't know if you tried this yet, Marty, because I feel like it would be right up your street. I feel like you'd jump out of your DeLorean and start hammering on the keyboard for this, because it's just so good. So Toki, there's a lot of decisions.
I thought you asked me a question and wanted me to answer it.
No, it was just I mean, we know the answer.
Just continue.
Yes.
Just continue. I got this link that I haven't watched yet, so I'll go check this out.
But the thing I found with Toki was there was a lot of situations where things played out kind of okay, and then the decision was, do I play this again, this whole turn again, and try and make it better, or do I risk making it worse? So it was a lot of risk and reward. It felt like the casino was like, oh, pushing all your chips in, or do you keep some of your chips back? And yeah, Toki was the particular highlight for me in this challenge so far. But I've only beat two. I beat the Houndmaster first try, and I beat Toki on the third try, I think. So having a lot of fun with it. It feels a bit better than Dungeon Run, I think, with regards to how it's playing out initially. The first kind of 5 encounters, while most of them are fairly straightforward, you do have to have your wits about you, whereas in Dungeon Run it felt like the first 5 came and you were like, okay, and then number 6 came and you're like, boom, wiped out. But I don't know how you find it, Michael, because you have had big issues with Dungeon Run. You're kind of saying that you haven't enjoyed it so much, but you've jumped into Monster Hunt and you're just kind of killing it. So I don't know if just because you're being successful now, is that why it's good? Or what do you think they've done different?
No, because I haven't been successful with the tracker, and it took me a while to be successful with Toki. But what it does feel is that even when I wasn't doing well, I didn't feel like the deck was so stacked against me that I couldn't overcome it. Like in this one, I feel like I'm willing to stay in the game for a chance to make something happen. While in Dungeon Run, once like a certain boss appeared, immediately I was just like, yeah, I'm not even gonna try. Or like once something happened, like there's no way that I could come back from this. But in this one, I actually feel like there's a possibility. Now, I probably haven't seen all the bosses because I know Marty has something to say against that, but I personally haven't felt that it's against me in that way.
Yeah, I mean, as you said, you just fell with the old one. That's how I feel with one particular boss, because I was playing the Cannoneers, the very first one, and I was like, how many is it? 8. You need to complete it. It's 8, right?
Yeah.
So I went through the first 7. I mean, there were some of them were pretty easy. Some of them I had to fight for, but I got through it. And then I just hit the 8th one, which was Azelina's Soul Thief. And I just got so overwhelmed because I did not have an aggressive deck. I did not have a deck that could handle loads of,
Is that the Wisps?
loads
The one that
yeah, that's
checks
the
out all
Wisp one.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Throwing out like 3 Wisps every turn, and who would have thought Wisps would have been a problem, huh?
Those buffs that she has on them.
It's the buffs though. It's the buffs though. It's not the wisps themselves, but it's everything else. So I have lost to this boss every time I've met her. And then I played. This has been with the Cannoneer. Then I went on to the very first one. Which one is that? It's the roguelike
The
one.
tracker.
The tracker. All right. Yeah. And I had really good fun with the tracker. I really enjoyed that one so far, but then I ran into Azalina again and died horribly. And then in the next round, I got to choose like those passives that you can choose, where one of them is like at the start of your turn, deal 1 damage to all enemies. And I was like, I'm bagging this now. I'm taking this. And then I ran into another boss instead, which instead of small minions, threw out loads of large minions. And I was like, what the? So yeah, I have not. I've tried. I've done my best, but I have not finished with any of these yet, and I'm close to giving up, to be honest.
Ooh. I feel like specifically with Houndmaster and the Cannoneer, it's all about working that hero power and getting that hero power really pimped out, because it can do some serious damage. And I think my first few times playing with a lot of the heroes, I didn't like really fully understand the power of the hero power. And when you really utilize that, then it can really swing games and change games. But yeah, there are just some bosses that feel really terrible. I don't know if you guys come across the Face Collector, and he has like a hero power that it costs 0 and it increases the mana cost of a minion that they cast it on, and you just feel like really overwhelmed straight away. And I think
I've met him 2 or 3 times. I have never had problems with that guy.
That's just weird, isn't it? It's weird. Weird that you have like your nemesis almost. That you go through this and you're like, oh no, it's this guy. I never beat him. And yeah, I mean, you can try and build your deck more towards a certain boss, but then if that boss doesn't come up, you're like, oh no. But yeah, that's why I think trying to kind of flesh out your hero power and making that as best possible, and then you might stand a greater chance. So you haven't played Toki yet?
No, I have not.
Okay. I mean, Toki is just awesome. Just being able to rewind your turn and start that all over again, and especially when sometimes you mess up and you're like, oh, I should have played it out this way and that way, and you're like, I could just reset this. It's amazing. I want this thing constructed. I want to be able to reset my turn.
Now,
every
it's not the same final boss every time, right? For the class?
No.
Because I think like I went through with Houndmaster once and I played one boss, and then I went through with Houndmaster again because I wanted to get the pack. And I was just going to quit right away, but then I'm like, no, I'll go. And I beat it again, but I think it was a different boss. At the end.
So far, all 8 bosses are randomly selected. So
is Toki's last fight the same? Because I played Infinite Toki.
I played Infinite Toki.
When you were playing Toki.
Yeah, and
yeah, I feel like that's meant to happen.
I am so happy that I chose the double health starting, because she has like a card that she plays. It's like a 10 cost card where she restarts the game, but your health stays the same. So I was lucky enough that I had double health, so I was able to overcome that barrier particularly. But when she did that, I was like, what is going on here? This is not what I signed up for. Doubling the amount of time I gotta stay on this boss, but I ended up still winning it, so I didn't have to worry too much.
Yeah, it's a pretty long fight, that actually. It's and then it just starts all over again. You're like, oh, here we go.
I love the ones that buff like your hero power. Like with Houndmaster, you could like increase the Hound's attack by 2. So, and they have rush. So I would get those cards that every time a beast dies, you gain like +1/+1 or something like that. And then I would play a 4 cost card that would be like 12/12, because I just used the Hounds to rush and destroy the enemies as they come out and buff this guy every single turn. And it just got pretty ridiculous quickly. I love it.
But I think that's the fun parts about these adventures or these dungeon runs, that they can, since it is PvE, they can do like lots of wacky stuff. And I cannot talk today, Jesus. They could do lots of wacky stuff because it's PvE, right? And I think that's the strong side of this, because I mean, even though that I've had my nemesis that I've run into or not run into when I wanted to, I still find that overall it's really good fun. I love the new hero powers and what they can do, and I mean, eventually I'll probably get it, but I'm just annoyed right now.
Yeah, I mean, I just want to say, like, aside from just the solo adventure part, I've been having more fun in the Witchwood than I have in previous expansions relatively recently. I'm still sticking with it. To be honest, I have not played too many ranked games recently because I've been so into the solo mode since Thursday that's all I've touched. But I'm still playing Hearthstone, and it's been a while since I could say after a week that I'm still playing Hearthstone. And I think it's been like that since Old Gods, where I haven't really been interested in the game all that much. I've delved in here and there, but Witchwood is definitely keeping my attention at the moment.
I would like to make a suggestion to you, Michael. If you are enjoying Hearthstone right now, I recently reacquired a program called Hearthstone Deck Tracker. I don't know if you've heard of it.
Yes.
It's pretty good for tracking your stats, and kind of keeps an overlay of your deck while you're playing. It's really handy just to for certain aspects of the game. But they've actually, since I last used it, they've teamed up with another Hearthstone program called Hearthstone Replays.
Yeah, I've heard of them.
This kind of keeps track of your game as well, so you can go back and kind of watch the game play out again, which is quite cool, just to revisit certain moments if you're analyzing that stuff. But another feature in this is that it kind of scans your collection, and I'm not a big advocate of make a net deck, but if you're going on the ladder, you want to see what's competing, what's doing well, and I feel like being totally creative, sometimes you can get a bit punished if you don't really know where to start and your deck isn't doing a certain thing. But it kind of scans your collection, and then it brings up a list of decks that you're able to create as well, and it kind of gives statistics of how they're faring, and it's quite interesting just to kind of go into that and maybe use that as a foundation for something that you want to build or alter, or just kind of mix it up as well. So I've actually just been enjoying being able to like have my collection scanned, and then I've got a list of decks that I'm able to create with my collection, and it takes that whole searching through kind of websites going, do I have these cards to make this deck? And it's a lot of fun to experiment and play around and then head on the ladder and just get a feel for something if you're enjoying it and that's something you want to work with as well. So actually experimented with a few classes that I usually wouldn't, because just building a deck from scratch seems quite tricky sometimes.
Yeah, and I mean that's a lot of the time that's my issues when I'm trying to create a new deck, is that I'm not always aware of what actually works together. And even though that they have a lot of cards, a lot of expansions, and is out now because of Year of the Raven, I'm still sometimes a bit overwhelmed by the amount of cards that's in my card book. And yeah, what do I put in here? What actually synergizes well? So maybe I mean I know you did say that Michael should check this out, but I think it's all right if I check it out as well, right?
Okay.
No, it's just
You
for
can
me.
Check it.
Just
You
for
got
me.
your beard. You got your beard back, so you're back in the club. And you can check it out too. Pete in the chat,
Oh,
Titans
go
Creed, he's saying wow, I must have called it off you, Marty. Innkeeper is pretty good. Not sure if it keeps stats tracking, but the deck overlay is decent. I haven't checked that one out actually. I just kind of got a recommendation to check out Hearthstone Deck Tracker again, and loving it. It's really expanding upon what I do in Hearthstone, and I love stats. I don't know if you guys like statistics, but I like looking back at seeing actually what is working.
As we talked about, I don't know if you guys have latest episode of the Blizzard Umbrella, but Dusty and I,
Never heard of that show.
we love spreadsheets, so stats, I'm totally on board. Michael, I know you've had your hand in the air for quite a while now, so sorry. What did you want to say about spreadsheets?
Nothing about spreadsheets, but more so on the topic of cards. The card packs that you get for doing you get a quest with the new solo mode where you defeat 10 of the bosses with each class. Are those card packs, are they different from the ones that we got from the initial Witchwood? Because they seem like they're different cards than what I've seen when I was opening up the initial packs. So are these like introduced with the solo mode?
No.
They're not? They're not different?
I don't know what you're talking about. You're scaring me.
I thought maybe they were different.
No, man. They're Witchwood.
What are you doing in the Witchwood?
Maybe
What are
I'm
you
getting.
smoking in
Maybe
there?
they're giving me
What are
different
you
cards
smoking?
finally.
He's opening all these secret cards that were never supposed to be in play.
I'm gonna get an email from Blizzard that was like, "We haven't lifted that yet. You weren't supposed to talk about that." They're like, I didn't even know. No,
Yeah,
it seemed like I was getting different cards than what I had gotten during the 70 pack unopening. So I didn't know if they were different, and the card pack looked different itself. So I don't know.
I don't know, man. You've really confused me.
It's been a long week. I'm tired. It's been a long week. I don't know what's going on. Don't mind me.
That's a cool idea, though. This what you said there. If they ever.
Well, I thought so, because usually when they did the solo adventures, you would get solo cards that weren't in the normal packs. Like with Karazhan, you get like the chess pieces and things like that. So I thought maybe like these were cards that were different, that were meant to supplement the initial launch of cards.
So almost like combining an expansion and an adventure mode.
Yeah.
With going through that and then unlocking cards in a way that would.
Yeah, and we had talked about the idea of releasing cards here and there, and we all know that Blizzard listens to our podcast each and every week, so I thought maybe they finally took our advice. But
Maybe.
It hasn't been 4 years of asking yet and petition signed, so it might still be a little while.
Early days.
Yeah.
Early days.
So I know this is not on the show notes or anything, but has any of you guys tried out Deckard Cain yet?
Yes, I have.
I have a tale of woe. I'll let Michael go first.
I bought Deckard Cain day one. Once it was available, I jumped in there, I bought him, and I played him. Mainly I played him in just quick match and some AI to fill out some things. He's a lot of fun. I don't think that he's like overpowered or anything. I still need to get used to his attacking. He has great control with his ability. He has this cube that you throw out, and it does a AoE damage as well as slowing people down. Then he has like this triangle that he throws out that roots people and damages them. It's really cool, and with the right people, you can annihilate some heroes really quickly. You could throw his potions around so that different people can heal. They kind of stay on the ground, or you could just toss them at people, which is what I do. I like to target heal, so I don't throw them on the ground for anybody to pick up, because then the fat tank is going to pick it up when he don't need it. But he's a lot of fun, but he's a melee support. So he's like walking up there and then whacking enemies with his stick, and I'm like, I don't feel comfortable being so close as a support hero right now, so I'm just gonna toss things back here, and then I get yelled at for, Deckard, why you in the back? I'm like, I'm throwing potions, y'all. But he's a lot of
What
fun.
I want to know is the real question is, which ultimate is the best? Is it Lornado or is it stay a while and listen?
If I'm 100% honest, I have not even gone into Lornado. It's all been stay a while and listen. I have not experimented.
Come on, Michael, embrace the memes.
No, I am living the class fantasy. Okay.
Break the meta, Michael. Break the meta.
I am the meta.
We're supposed to bring people alternative views on Blizzard games. You know, we're supposed to dive deep, explore all areas of the hero. And actually, I probably should shut up.
Yeah, I was about to ask, how far have you gone into it?
Well, see, I logged into Heroes, and this is when the trouble began, because I looked at my gold, and then I was like, oh, I don't have enough to buy Deckard with my gold. So it's like, oh, look at my gems. I'm pretty sure I'll be okay. No. So there is a funding issue with regards to Deckard Cain being added to my roster. This should be fixed very shortly, but currently it's one of those real tragic tales. You know, it's like this love story that's been blossoming, and you know, finally we're about to have that warm embrace. We're running towards each other, our arms are stretched out, and you know, we're about to connect and, you know, bro it out. But then, you know, Deckard trips or something, or and you know, it's over. Like we don't get to have that moment, but it's coming soon. And you know, just have to wait a bit longer, Tom, to get that Kane action.
We need to get the Oscars thing.
I don't like how my story of, you know, woe was just overwrote there by crickets.
You could have saved us. You could have saved us all by like midway through, just being like, insert Patreon link here, the GoFundMe to get Deckard Cain.
I mean, I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't ask people to do that. That is just not who I am.
Oh.
So I would like Marty to ask on my behalf. No, I'm kidding.
Don't mind other people asking for me. I just won't do it myself.
So help Tom get Deckard Cain. Head over to patreon.com/thebluerecluse.
Oh, that's that plug.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a new low. I thought it was a new low last week when we started putting adverts in. This is the new low. Put it in, mark the day, 29th of April, 2018.
Also, if any of you guys out there don't plan on going to BlizzCon and want us to go and experience it for you and bring it on the show. So, speaking of BlizzCon, Blizzard recently created this page that I think, why the hell are they doing this? Because it will make it easier for us to get tickets. It's
yeah. Oh, are we gonna share this? Are we gonna share this? Because we don't want more people to potentially get tickets. We want to hinder people's chances. No. Maybe we tell them.
Oh, okay.
Maybe we talk about this article, but we give them the wrong information.
Okay. Okay. In that case, the BlizzCon tickets will go on sale May the 7th.
No, tell them after the date, not before, because then.
May the 15th.
2019.
A lot of people saying that there's 2 days you can purchase a ticket. It's a lie. Only one day. It's May the 15th.
The second one.
All bookings must be made through the Blue Recluse. Okay, serious. Game face on now, guys. Game face.
I thought we were serious.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, we can use that clip. That's beautiful.
Okay. Let's move on to Battle for Azeroth then.
Oh, we're not actually telling the right information.
Some of you might have heard that the global cooldown changes for Battles of Azeroth has stirred a little bit of an uproar of the people who has actually been testing these things out, because among other things, the game feels really, really slow, and I have to admit that I'm a little bit worried. I have to admit because I actually ventured into the beta because on the other podcast that I'm a part of. We're talking about rating, and we're going to talk about every class. So I went in with the class that we're going to talk about later, today actually. Plugging the show at the end of the show
What
as
show
well.
is that called again?
The Raiders Confessional.
Okay,
No.
I think I've heard of that one. I haven't heard of the other one you mentioned earlier, but I think I've heard of that one.
But anyway, I went in there to test out the Holy Priest, and it felt so slow. And it felt like when I healed, I didn't heal for anything. I'm not sure if that's intended, if it's just because it's beta that they're still figuring out the power level. If it's that scaling issue, because the main tank was level 120, I was level 110, so maybe that's a scaling issue. I don't know, but it just felt like I didn't heal for anything, and all my spells and abilities are so slow at casting. I don't know if it's because I don't have that much haste yet either, because I mean it is like a pretty standard set that you're starting out with at 110. So, but I just got the feeling as, oh no, I'm back in Cataclysm when I did the dungeon, and I was like.
But everybody loved that expansion.
No. I don't know. Some people might have done, but I did not. I really hated what they did to the healing model, among other things, and it feels like that's where we're going back right now. And I don't hope that's a thing, because if this is it, then I will probably not be raiding in this expansion.
No,
As
the
a
way it
healer,
works
or
is-
just in general?
As a healer.
Oh, okay.
Wow, I was almost a big bombshell there.
Right? I was like, whoa!
Quitting raiding.
Hashtag WoW's
Well,
dead.
and that's the thing. I don't really enjoy DPSing, so I'm not really sure if I want to. Well, I will. Well, I do enjoy DPS. I don't know. I'm just so. It feels because the DPS also felt really, really slow, because I tried it out as well, and everything just felt so slow. And
How do you mean it feels slow? So how's this working? Is it when you're casting abilities you can't kind of spam them, or?
Yeah, exactly. The casting, it takes forever to cast something.
So it's longer to cast a spell. So say I was a mage, I was casting a fireball. Before it took 2 seconds, now it takes 5 seconds. Is that what you're kind of saying?
Yeah,
or?
that's the feeling. Yeah. I don't know about mage. I haven't played mage. I don't know if that's.
But your
that's
spells
technically-
are taking longer to cast. They're
taking
actually
longer to
are.
cast. Yeah.
Okay.
Everything feels very slow to down, and I don't like that. I never liked that. I didn't like it in Cataclysm. I don't like it now. I like the faster paced style that we've had the last 2 expansions at least.
Now, did you watch the Q&A that they did recently? Because Ian talked a bit about this, because on the topic they brought back some things off of the global cooldown, things like heroic leap and some other things that I don't know off the top of my head, but this question was like the first one asked, and Ian went. I definitely suggest we watch it. I'll link it in the show notes, but Ian went in depth like about their idea behind.
Went crazy.
He went crazy and he destroyed the server room on camera, and WoW is dead. He saw Illidan tattoos and everything. It was weird.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
So Ian went in on it, and he described about, some of it felt too slow. He's like, we're not trying to really slow down World of Warcraft necessarily, but they want to rein in where characters, like, you have to actually decide on things to do that will actually make an impact on the game that you're playing. I think he used, like, the healer as an example. Like, oh, if you're doing this and you're standing in a swirly, right now you can do, like, 2 things at once. You can pop a heal and move at the same time, while he wants you to make a choice on you're low on health, the tank is low on health, and there's a swirly underneath you. Now you actually have to make a decision, because it's going to take a little bit longer for... It's more of like, it's not necessarily the cast time, but the time you have in between your abilities to use it.
This is just a copy of what Ghostcrawler said before Cataclysm. This is this is basically what they said back in Cataclysm. We want to change things up. We want you to think about what you're doing. and it's the whole same argument, and it did not work back then. I find, at least, and I know a lot of healers back then agreed. They were so a lot of healers were actually quitting back then as well because they didn't like it. So I'm not buying that argument, to be honest.
You gotta get with Garrosh, Marty.
It didn't. It didn't work back then. So why are we doing this once more? I don't get it.
This might sound weird, but I really like the sound of this, so I need to go look at it and probably find out that I don't. But I almost feel like
Sounds like it's meant for casuals.
I don't, because I'm like, yeah, we slow it down, then you have more time to react, but maybe your decision matters more. I don't know, because it feels like as well when, like, say you watch a lot of time, maybe you watch the Dungeon Invitational or you watch Arena Championships, like all that stuff's happening so fast. Maybe they're trying to slow that down for those reasons as well. So when people are watching this, there's more time for the commentators to talk about the action and more time for the viewers to take in what's happening as well. And do you think esports has a part to play in the balancing of World of Warcraft? Because it looks like most games going with some sort of esports these days. It feels like it's this sort of underlying expectation for everything now.
I don't think that the PvP esports really has much to do with the impact. If anything, the MDI is Blizzard's big indication of like things that might need changing, because the MDI is the one that's picking up steam, and I've actually been watching it a lot recently. It's really fun to watch. I don't know. We'll have to see. Like Marty said, he hadn't tried it out at max level.
No.
We all know that max level play and once you get equipment is completely different than the leveling experience sometimes. Once you get that haste up, you're actually moving, doing things. But if Blizzard is known to, they can turn it back if they need to. And I think that if it becomes that big of an issue, they will turn it back. But then also, Ian did kind of say that sometimes we make changes looking further ahead than what you can see. So while it might not be what you want now, later on, it's going to make sense. So that kind of worries me a little bit, because it's might be some growing pains to get to wherever Blizzard is trying to lead us. So we'll see. I haven't jumped into the beta. I haven't tried it myself because I don't want to accidentally stumble upon some story spoilers. So
No. And I mean, as you said, there's a big difference between now and when we're max level and we start to gear up and things like that. I'm just so worried because it feels like Cataclysm all over again, and I fell so out of love with the game in Cataclysm that it just worries me.
Titan Creed is saying about kind of different classes being affected in different ways. So, I mean, something like Priest would probably be heavily affected by.
Yeah, but they're not really in a great spot right now anyway. At least not Holy Priest. I mean, we have our issues already right now, and I don't think that a slowed down game will fix that at all. In my opinion.
I have a fix for you, Marty. It's called WoW Classic. That's all. Back in time. That's what they're gonna do. They're gonna just make the current game so unplayable that everyone wants to go back, and then they're like, we're just pulling the live game. No one cares anymore, and we're just going back. We're gonna start again, and we're gonna leave out a couple of expansions that people apparently didn't like. Mr. Pandera apparently, and nobody liked that except Titan's Creed. And we're gonna keep Warlords. We're gonna work on that, and we're gonna expand on the Garrison thing a bit more. But I mean, that's the future. That's the future. Michael, you excited?
you brought it up, and now I have to talk about it because you brought up Classic, and it's been on my mind since last week. And I've gone back and forth. I've gone back and forth, to be honest, because every time I get in this mode, we're like, man, all these cool aspects of Classic. I want to experience it. And then I was watching some videos about like vanilla World of Warcraft and some of the pros and cons of it. And some of the cons, I'm just like, oh my god, that is horrible. Why would I want to do that? I guess I can't play Paladin because I don't want to be a holy Paladin. And Ian said Classic WoW is Classic WoW. And I don't feel like just spending 20 minutes doing seals or being a mage and just making a bunch of food. Like, no. So I'm back and forth. every few hours, I swear, and my hormones are going crazy right now. But I am really excited. I really want to play Classic WoW. Like, for some reason, I really want to play it. I'm looking forward to that month and a half of level grinding to get the max level.
I mean, there was some things with like regards to mages and paladins, but you could write your own script because like feral druids, for example, was something very much frowned upon in the vanilla days, and we had a raiding guild doing molten core, and one of our main tanks was a druid that went feral, and he just kind of knew what he was doing, and that whole stigma was there behind certain things like DPS paladins and things. It was there. It was a stigma, and it was a bit weird. But people who knew how to play their class were able to overcome the stigmas and actually prove a lot of people wrong, that maybe not all classes were amazingly viable and absolutely the best way you could play, but I feel like every spec with certain types of gear and certain types of talents, you could make them work to a degree that would make you be able to progress. And because raids were so big as well, there was that window for, you know, having that guy who was just spamming auto shot on Hunter. He's like, yeah, he's still doing a bit of damage. He done 2% on Ragnaros. That's fine. That's good. So yeah, I was talking to one of my friends again about Classic today, and I'm just like really, really curious where they draw the line. Where do they go? This is what we're keeping in. This is the quality of life changes we're putting in. Where they draw that line will fascinate me beyond belief, and I'm looking forward to finding more about that. Titan Screen in the chat is asking, because we're talking about Battle for Azeroth, anyone considering a class switch?
Yeah,
I think Marty might be, yeah.
Marty has a whole
it's
series
not-
on it.
but not because of what I've experienced so far. But yeah, I actually am considering a class switch. Also, what I'm doing is, together with Ryan from the Blizzard Umbrella, we're doing the Raiders Confessional, where we are today, actually later today, we're starting first episode, where we will be going through all classes in the game, and we'll talk about pros and cons and what we found out, what are the changes, things like that, and then at the end we'll hopefully have figured out what main we want to go with in Battle for Azeroth.
And I might be switching as well, but I'm switching in a different way, because I kind of like, I still want to do raiding, but I don't want to do raiding necessarily as a paladin. I kind of want to keep my paladin as like my main, but I want to switch it back to a tank, and I want to tank Mythic and Mythic Plus dungeons with him, and then I kind of want to have a DPS, maybe a ranged DPS on the side that I go raiding with. I don't know if that's like a weird thing to really say, but I've been messing around with an Affliction Warlock, and I'm having a lot of fun with it. I'm having a lot of fun with it. It's I like just having the ability of just like putting some dots on it and nothing's happening, and then all of a sudden its health just starts melting away. Like when I was leveling with my paladin, I couldn't solo, well, no, not the paladin, something else, that I couldn't solo certain things. But now with the mage probably. Like I couldn't solo like these big things. I had nothing in between to block. But with the warlock, I can just send out my pet. It'll tank for a bit. I just put all the dots on, and then it just starts melting away. And I really enjoy it so far. So we'll see. I might be boosting it soon.
Getting you a t-shirt printed, Michael, that says I can't solo big things.
I need some help. I need a partner.
I don't know where to take it from here.
So yeah, it is strange though how potential changes in current World of Warcraft Battle for Azeroth almost sparks the appetite for maybe going back to WoW Classic. It's such a strange position that I didn't really think I would be in. Like when they announced Classic, I was like, well, yeah, you know, good for the people that wanted it.
I'm more chocolate kind of guy.
You're like, vanilla's not my favorite ice cream.
I like some chocolate chips and that. But no, it's weird. I'm in a weird headspace with MMOs because I'm a pretty casual. I am a casual player. Let's just not beat around the bush. But a lot of the times when I'm kind of
how long was it you were unsubscribed for? Warcraft so far?
Long enough for Blizzard to say,
No,
"Hey,
he's-
come back. We want you back. Here's a free month or free 7
You
days.
still alive, man? Are you still alive?
We miss you."
So yeah, the problem I'm finding with MMOs right now, and I love MMOs, but just that whole leveling process and being out in the world feels very trivial. Never really feels like any sort of challenge, and it just feels like this. I mean, it is a grind, but it's just something that I don't even have to think about. I can go out in the world and kill mobs and never feel in danger, never feel like I'm gonna die, never really feel like I'm learning anything. And I know it wasn't like that in Classic because you had to be a bit more careful with how you were pulling, and maybe when you went through dungeons, certain dungeons you had to use a bit of crowd control, and there was you were learning as you leveled, and now it just feels like everything leading up to endgame in nearly every MMO I play is trivial. And I really enjoy that journey to the end game because I feel like that's where you learn, that's where you grow. And I feel like a lot of MMOs, most MMOs I play now, or that aspect's gone. And to me, I'm having a little struggle, like an internal struggle inside, going, this is weird because I love MMOs, but it feels like I don't know when the switch happened, or it's just it's gradually happened over time. But I feel a bit lost, and I feel like that's why I've suddenly have been looking back at WoW Classic and been going, oh my goodness, this might scratch this itch that I'm just not getting anywhere anymore. And it's really frustrating for me because I play a lot of Elder Scrolls Online as well, and recently I almost don't want to play it anymore because it's just so trivial. Like the being out in the world, this beautiful open world, there's things happening, there's people running around, but nothing feels dangerous. And I need danger. I need danger in my life. I don't know why. I need danger.
You know what you need?
What do I need?
You need a Super Nintendo Classic Mini.
Okay.
Some of the games on there, I'm like, what the hell is going on? I cannot get through the first level.
Super Ghouls and Ghosts.
It's
Okay.
Ghouls and
man.
Ghosts.
Go ahead and play that, and then go back to World of Warcraft. You'll be like, I can destroy things. Yes.
It's true. I mean, it is true that, like, it's almost in a way that way video games have gone. I mean, you look at kind of checkpoints in video games now. That there used to be a time when, for example, I was watching a friend play Resident Evil 7 last night, and we kind of got talking about the old Resident Evil, Resident Evil 1, where you were going around collecting ink ribbons, and you're like, well, I have to ration my ink ribbons just to save my game. Like that was an important decision of, I know I need to go to bed, but I'm gonna have to use an ink ribbon. Maybe I need to play, I maybe need to get further along in the game before I can actually save the game. And maybe that's a bit extreme of how I want video games to kind of be
Personally,
now, but
I hated that. So
yeah, but I mean, it definitely adds something to it.
yeah, annoyance.
So Alessandra's telling me to roll PvP if I want danger, and that is a good point.
It's not really the same though, because someone coming swooping down from above and ganking you.
Yeah, that's true. That's true as well. I mean, PvP servers. I feel like before flying, yeah, I could get behind that a bit more. But now world PvP just feels it's not good. It's not a good place because we can fly, and that whole aspect of it is just ruined.
I
feel like
in vanilla, we're playing with a hunter, for instance, or even a mage for that matter. I actually CC'd mobs, even though I was just out in the open world by myself, just to make sure I wasn't overwhelmed. Whereas nowadays, I feel like I just run in, AoE everything down, and run out. And that's also, well, some classes are better at it than others, but it is pretty much from the get-go, from a new expansion as well. I feel like it's like that. So.
Or you could do some WoW challenges. That'll make
that's
things
true.
a little
I keep
bit
being
more
told this.
difficult.
I keep being told.
Some of those things are meant to make it more difficult. So, all gray gear all the way throughout. Let's see what you do.
Yeah, I either gotta go RP or I gotta do that. I feel like because I'm just missing something. I feel like
There's something waiting for you at the RP.
Gaping hole inside of me. I know there's probably a lot of things, and a gaping hole would be filled in an RP server, I'm sure.
Just go to
the inn in Goldshire.
Yeah,
even I know that, and I wasn't even around then.
He's watched the videos
constantly.
So yeah, I actually don't really know where kind of going with this conversation, but I mean,
It's all right. It's just a conversation. It doesn't have to go anywhere.
Okay.
One place we could go is to consoles, right?
Oh no! See, we had this final article in because we were hoping we would never get to have to use it, but I feel like we've got a few minutes to spare.
We could use a few minutes.
So
It's
I mean, I'll just go.
it's very important information that I feel like a lot of people want to know and need to know, because after we have been talking of this, there will be an uproar. People will, go crazy, pull out their pitchforks, burn down their PCs, things like that. When they hear
I mean, I
this.
hope they don't do that, but I mean, it does cause that kind of reaction. I do fully understand. Can I just open this by saying, what happened to journalism? What happened to journalism? I mean, it used to be pretty good, but so the Blue Recluse, we obviously every week we go around and look at stuff that's been going on, and to say that it's been a little bit quiet in some areas recently, outside of Hearthstone, perhaps might be true, might not be, just depends where you look. But yeah, so I came across this article about World of Warcraft and would it be coming on the console. This is from the Daily Star, which is a really shitty newspaper in Britain. Pete, you've probably heard of it.
Goddamn Brits.
I can't believe I even said the word Daily Star. The fact I've said Daily Star now 3 times on our podcast is 3 times I should never have said it. But anyway,
Thanks for the check, Daily Star.
So this article, it's like Blizzard has given an update on the future of World of Warcraft on consoles, and it's pretty bad news, we're afraid. So I mean, that's I don't know why I even clicked on this, or how it was probably a misclick. Pointless article. There's nothing more to say about it, that it was pointless. But I'm like, this is out there. Why is this out there? It's utter crap. And Pete is backing up this statement as well. And Marty made a good observation about the Daily Star site because of their way of handling certain media. They're a fan of kind of
They're a fan of ladies, classy women.
Fan of kind of that old-fashioned newspaper. Oh
So
yeah.
what you're saying is
wow.
So what you're saying is
It's the Dark Souls of newspapers.
no World of Warcraft on console? No World of Warcraft on console?
Yeah, so ultimately after I clicked on this link, they're telling me that there is going to be no World of Warcraft on consoles. I think we did already all know that, so we appreciate Daily Star just confirming that, but there we go.
That just seems like why would you reach for something like that? Like, what goes through your mind where you're just like, hold on a minute, I got the next big article. World of Warcraft might come to consoles. # but it really won't. Like, first of all, it's really challenging for MMOs nowadays in general.
I mean, some classes it's even hard enough to have like key bindings for one class, and you want to have all that on a controller?
Now, I will make a defense and say that Bellular actually went out of his way and did a few videos a while back that showed different ways that you could play World of Warcraft. Like, he found a way that you could use a tablet. Somebody did it with the dance mat. But he did show different ways that you could map it to the controller. And in some cases, it might actually be easier, hold the trigger, and that opens up 4 new abilities just on the buttons itself. That point of it, I don't think it's that difficult to actually make it translate over. But MMOs are not necessarily the big thing. In order to put that much effort into development and porting, you're gonna have to want a profitable experience from it. And I think that on the console, if you want an MMO, you're either gonna play Final Fantasy XIV or Elder Scrolls Online. Those are the 2 that are already on the console.
Yeah, they were probably designed with the console in mind. I mean, something like World of Warcraft, it's not got console in mind.
And it doesn't need to. It doesn't need to. Is there I personally have not looked out my window and seen in the streets console gamers clamoring with their signs and let's make WoW great again, bring it to the consoles. No, I haven't seen that. Okay, I don't think that is gonna happen.
Could you imagine playing it with an N64 controller? I couldn't even play normal games with that. So
All right, guys.
Michael's just dead. He's gone. He's not even registering this conversation anymore because it's done. I feel like it's done.
Yeah, I think when we get to the articles from the Daily Star, then it's a sure sign that we should probably head over to the bar, close it
Yeah,
down.
you know what? I'm not even going to put that on our website. I'm not linking to that pointless. I'm saving you time this week by not reading it. There you go.
And before we
That's
go,
good.
I do want to say, catch the MDI. Like, watch the Mythic Dungeon
That sounds like a
Invitational.
sexual.
No, watch the
Catch the MDI.
catch the MDI quickly, and you'll feel like I do.
Speaking of the Daily Star, or
Oh,
No. No, definitely. Like, if you're into World of Warcraft, like PvE experiences, the MDI, the Mythic Dungeon Invitational, it's been a whole lot of fun. They have a great group of casters that really bring it up. They explain a lot of things that you might not know, subtle nuances and things that the teams are doing. If you want to watch something like competition in World of Warcraft, that's the thing to watch. Like, it's a lot of fun. Definitely get in there and check it out if you haven't already.
I said earlier that I have watched it before, but I do feel like it moves too fast. It'd be good if they could slow it down a bit, and I'm, I don't know how they could do that, but
You could get good, noob. That's what you could do. It moves too fast. It's a race.
if you don't know what's happening, then you don't deserve to know what's happening. Then
Right?
Wow.
Yeah. Jeez.
and that's how Marty didn't get a job at the esports department of Blizzard.
don't come here and slow my game down.
I'm not gonna dumb it down for you.
No, Jesus Christ. Come on, noob, you casual filth.
That's me. That's me. Casual filth.
Just casually accept it. That's what you do.
Join my guild
Damn
over
noobs.
on Storm Rage EU. Casual filth.
You'll occasionally see it in trade chat. We're a new guild, getting ready to gear up for battle
We
for
have a
Azeroth.
tabard. We have a tabard and a guild bank.
All right, guys, let's get out of here.
Lost orders! Lost orders!
And there's no music. There the music is. All right.
There you go. Woo.
It's been weird
Well,
tonight.
I
It's been
thought-
weird.
I was like, we're not gonna be able to continue this until we hear that. You know that we are music automated here at the Blue Recluse. We're robots.
We are robots, so we need some reprogramming. So there will be no show next week.
Affirmative. Affirmative.
No,
I'm not
we
gonna
actually
do
go-
it.
right now.
We're going out in the real world, having some fun next week. So
Speak for
yeah, no.
yourselves.
Michael is staying home. Michael is
I'm
going
leaving.
to clean the bar.
I'm leaving the United Kingdom because I can't stand it any longer. The Daily Star. I cannot stay in a country where that is one of the tabloids. So I'm leaving the United Kingdom and I'm going to Canada for 5
Right.
weeks. Then I'll be back.
For 5 weeks?
5 weeks. So I'm going to be on Michael's time zone when we do the next show, which is pretty exciting. So it'll just be Marty over here in...
You should come down here and do it here.
Oh, that's an offer. Can we
Yeah.
go do the MDI together or whatever?
No.
Okay, sorry. Let's wrap this
Also,
up.
also, as I said earlier, later today, for those people who are listening live, we will fire up the good old the Raiders Confessional podcast, and we'll start a very new series where we're going to talk about. We're going to go through all classes, and today's class will be the priest.
Aw.
Yeah. So if you're
Are
interested,
you talking about the
in-
cons and cons?
the cons and cons about priests. So, so yeah, that will be later today. But yeah, stay around because after the show we have the Freshly report. And speaking of Freshly, he'll be joining us on our next episode on May the 13th for our World of Warcraft retrospective. We're going to look back at Legion and review it. What did we think? What was good? What was bad? Things like that. Anyway, let us know your thoughts about anything we talked about on this episode, or if you have your own questions, feel free to contact us. Tom, how do people do that?
They can open up their email provider and type in the Blue Recluse podcast at gmail.com and send us an email about anything, really anything. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, the Blue Recluse. You can find us on those social media platforms. Come on over to the bluerecluse.eu/Discord. Talking about, mainly it's just Michael talking about how he's beat a new boss in Monster Hunt. He's getting the bragging rights there. He's going for the world first in the Blue Recluse, so serious business.
Serious biz.
Serious, yeah. Come on in and join the conversation. Don't be shy. We welcome everyone, and yeah, we have a Patreon to support the show. Buy us Decker Kane heroes and BlizzCon tickets. Because those things ain't cheap. We gotta get that in somehow. Over at patreon.com/the Blue Recluse, and you can find all that information and more in our show notes. Not the Daily Star link, but that's the bluerecluse.eu. So head over there if you want to reference anything we mentioned in the show. We put it all there in a nice little post, so you don't have to go searching.
Great, except that link for the Daily Star.
Yeah, I mean, this will be the last time we ever mention that.
Right.
Filth, like casual filth again. Yes.
In that case, thank you so much for listening to us talking about all the amazing Daily Star articles. See you guys next week. Freshly, take it away.
Welcome to episode 36 of the Frazzle Report. I am Razzly, and I'm here to deliver your weekly World of Warcraft news. Today is Friday, April 27th, 2018. The new opening scenarios for BFA have been in the alpha. Wildhead has been covering what they've been finding in them. There has been speculation as to why, after coming together during Legion, we are now being told that we will be taking up arms against each other. There is more than what we've been told. While doing some investigation, we have uncovered the alternative opening scenarios and the real reason for the factional divide. They start with Sylvanas and Anduin in Dalaran. Each came to discuss their difference. They realized through their meeting that they weren't too different from each other. Not too different after all. At least at first. Everything is going well. They both realize that they care for the people that they are protecting. Anduin mentions how he prefers Star Wars. Sylvanas goes into a rage, discussing how Star Trek is a better series. She promptly says, "I bet you thought the top in Inception stopped spinning at the end." Anduin nodded at this. Anduin said, "Let me guess, you prefer consoles over PCs." Sylvanas says, "Xboxes are better." Anduin was starting to get a little heated under the collar at this moment. They were realizing their differences. Instead of breaking down barriers, they were building them. Sylvanas said, "Oh, let me guess. You like Superman more than Batman." Anduin retorted, "Superman would obliterate Batman, as Batman has no power." Sylvanas leaps up out of her chair. "That is it! I cannot be friends with someone who is so different from me." She pulls out her Android phone, getting ready to call an Uber to take her home. Anduin sees this and says, "Oh, enjoying your Samsung? I bet it has malware or will burn up, unlike my iPhone 10. Sylvanas walks out of the room at this moment in a rage, yelling, "For the androids!" At this, Anduin sits down, pulls out his London Spitfire jersey, and thinks to himself, "Glad I didn't wear this. I bet she's a fan of Dallas Fuel." This, my friends, is the real reason for the factional divide. What we will see in the scenarios in-game are just a theatrical presentation, masking the real divisions. The opening scenario we described has been cut from the game. This has been the Frazzle Report. I am Frazzly Sparkspan. You can find the show at frazzlereport.com. Until next week, be awesome. Oh, and Anduin, go Philadelphia Fusion!
This show is brought to you by Find more at DragonPoweredStudio.com.